back here on CBS Sports HQ. The preseason coaches poll just dropped. Texas, are they back? Tommy, they came in at number 1. The defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes coming in at number 2. Penn State coming in at number 3. We talked high expectations earlier in the show for all 3 of those programs. Now the SEC has the most spots in the preseason college football rankings. 15 of the top 25 teams in this preseason coaches poll are either from the Big Ten or the SEC. So let's welcome in Chip Patterson here. And Chip, we're going to kind of rack your brain a little bit. We're going to pair up, different squads on the top part of the coaches poll, the middle, and then towards the lower half, towards 25 and such. We're going to ask you out of the 2 groups who you have more confidence in. And we're starting right at the top, 1 and 2 with Texas and Ohio State. Chip, if you were a coach voting in this poll, would you vote it that way? Texas 1 and Ohio State at number 2.
Yes, I've got more confidence in Ohio State. Texas is number 1 on my ballot for the CBS Sports 136. I think that the key here, as we're trying to separate all these top teams, all with national championship aspirations, all with national championship talent, it is continuity. How about 4 straight seasons of Steve Sarkisian having the same offensive and defensive coordinator, while Ryan Day in Ohio State, they lose Chip Kelly, they lose Jim Knowles, turnover at both coordinator positions, in addition to all the talent that they lost. And so you asked, is Texas back? Heck yeah, Texas is back, Jacqueline. Texas is here. Texas has arrived. The Longhorns and the Arch Manning era, it is knocking at the door, and it's going to be beating down the door in Columbus in the Horseshoe. So I think that for Texas, I know so much more than I do for Ohio State, because they do bring back a lot along the lines of scrimmage. We've got a little bit more in terms of the perimeter and the skill positions, but the number 1 thing that stands out to me that separates the Longhorns from a lot of these other teams is that continuity at the coordinator positions.
And you know what? We get to see them go head-to-head week 1, and I can't wait for the overreaction. Either way, whoever wins or loses that we see post that game come late August. All right, so we're going from 1-2 over to 8 and 9 in the coaches poll. We have Bama coming in at number 8 and then LSU at number 9. So it's year 2 for Kalen DeBoer and the Crimson Tide. They kick things off against FSU in week 1. For LSU, they're facing Clemson in week 1 and really trying to get off to a good start, because we know that is important to Brian Kelly, trying to win a season opener. Who do you have more faith in, Bama or LSU?
I've got more faith in Bama. I think that this Alabama team is going to be really good in the college football playoff and competing for an SEC championship. I think it is important to note that Ryan Grubb is back. You've been hearing from some Washington players, former Washington players from that team with Michael Penix a couple years ago, and just talking about how big Ryan Grubb was to the success of that Huskies offense. That's going to benefit Ty Simpson. That's going to benefit Ryan Williams. But the thing to me, Jacqueline, is that I think Alabama has one of the best defenses in the entire country. They are old, they are big, and they are nasty. Players like Tim Keenum, Deontay Lawson, true seniors that have played a lot of football together. I think that defensively, that is going to be something that provides a bedrock that, frankly, LSU does not have. Do I think that LSU's defense can be a little bit improved? Yes. But I still think that this Tigers team is flawed, one that's going to ride the ups and downs of Garrett Nussmeier. And so I think Alabama is a more steady stock. I think Alabama has a ceiling that involves being able to be better defensively. So when we're talking about confidence, give me the team that is better at getting stops than they are necessarily at being able to run down and run up the score. So LSU, a little bit more volatile, more confidence in the Tide.
Expectations are sky high when you come off a 9-win season, and that's considered like a down year for your program there in Alabama. All right, Chip, you got to choose your words, your team very wisely here, because we're talking about South Carolina and Florida. Not to bully you or anything, but we have South Carolina. Lenora Sellers is back. There are high expectations. DJ Lagway, his health, whether it be his calf, a lower leg injury, his throwing arm, whatever, there's a lot of question marks there. But who do you have more confidence in, the Gamecocks or the Gators?
I've got more confidence in the Gators, and that's not trying to butter you up. I already know that you and I are sworn enemies because of hockey.
Yep.
So I just need to be honest about this, because what Florida has, just for let's take DJ Lagway out of it. They've got dudes on the offensive and defensive line: Slaughter, Barber, Sapp. Like, this is a Florida team whose talent level is top 15, top 20 in the country. Now, they just happen to be playing a ridiculously difficult schedule that is going to maybe prevent them from being able to have a 10-win season. But I tell you what, if Florida goes 9-3 because of their strength along the line of scrimmage against this schedule, that Florida team's going to be in the college football playoff, even if they have 3 losses. South Carolina has LaNorris Sellers, but lost a lot of pro talent. So I just think that the talent level outside of quarterback is advantage Gators in a way that I don't think LaNorris Sellers, for all of his Superman qualities, of which we have seen, I just don't think he's going to be able to overcome all of that talent exodus in Columbia.
I keep warning the cover 3 guys. You know, if I get a Panthers back-to-back Stanley Cup run, Florida basketball, and then Florida football is in the CFP, like, I'm going to be the most insufferable human on the planet if I'm not already. Let's continue on. Let's go to Illinois, coming in at number 12 in the coaches poll, and then Michigan coming in at number 14. A lot of folks have been throwing out, you know, Illinois is the Indiana this season, and then meanwhile, Michigan, they still got that win over Ohio State, but regardless of that, they're still trying to find their way post-Harbaugh. So when you're looking at these 2 programs, does it feel right with Illinois at 12 in the coaches poll and Michigan at 14 in your eyes, Chip?
Yeah, I think Illinois' got a higher floor. Their ceiling might be similar, but I'm going to go with Luke Altmaier. I think that Illinois' starting quarterback is really at the top of his game right now, and a lot of it comes down to his own confidence. I mean, look no further than the fact that he's got 5 game-winning touchdown drives in his career, the most of any quarterback in college football right now. No, he even has said that when he showed up at Illinois, he didn't have a full grasp of belief in terms of what he was going to be able to do. And he certainly did that last season, leading Illinois to a 10-win campaign, something that we don't see a lot in Champaign. For Michigan, is there something that's exciting about Bryce Underwood? Sure, but that to me feels like a 2026 proposition. In 2025, I am advantage Altmaier, and I think that Luke Altmaier is the reason why. As I'm looking at Illinois, the one question I have is about wide receiver, replacing Zachary Franklin, replacing Pat Bryant. But they got everybody back along the offensive line. The running back room is deep, and so I'm counting on that quarterback to raise the level of play for the Illinois wide receivers. Over at Michigan, Bryce Underwood could be awesome, but I still got questions at the skill position. So more confidence in what Illinois can be, and also that the floor is a little bit higher than Michigan's.
All right, so Michigan maybe like 2 seasons away from getting back to the promised land. Finally, we have Kansas State and Iowa State. We have K-State at number 20 in the coaches poll and Iowa State at number 22. Who do you have more confidence in?
Kansas State all day. Look, this Iowa State team, double-digit wins. They made it to the Big 12 title game. But Kansas State was the more talented team last year. Kansas State just kept stepping on rakes. Kansas State just kept making mistakes that were backbreaking for their hopes of winning a Big 12 title. So I think that Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson, if he can correct some of those errors that he made last season, he might be a dark horse Heisman Trophy pick. I think Kansas State has rightfully been tabbed as one of the favorites to win the Big 12. You know, this Farmageddon rivalry in Dublin that we're going to get in week 1 could provide a wild result that I might not want to overreact to one way or the other. But at the same time, I think that Kansas State has that chance to be able to jump out ahead, get that key win against another contender, and sort of set the tone for a Big 12 title run. Chris Kleiman was very disappointed with the lack of attention to details for a program that normally thrives in that area. I've got more confidence in Kansas State and what they have back than Iowa State, even though the Cyclones had a better 2024.
All right, Chip, we certainly appreciate it. We are counting down the days to week 1, week 0, all the things where we get college football back on our TV screens. Chip, we appreciate it. If you want to hear more from Chip Patterson and the Cover 3 guys, you can check him out over on the Cover 3 podcast. They have an ACC win total episode that is in your feed right now. You can watch by scanning that QR code on your screen.